Hey guys, Tyler here, and this is the Garage Warrior podcast and video cast. And I am super excited today because I'm not just bringing one, I'm bringing three different guests on the show. The first of which is one of my good friends, Rick Kaselj. Rick Kaselj from exerciseforoinjuries.com. How's it going, brother?
I'm doing awesome, Tyler.
Awesome, dude. Well, so the reason why I brought Rick on first on this call is because Rick has been doing this for a while. He's been bringing together some great minds in the fitness industry to create programs that solve problems in people's training and their muscle imbalances and so on and so forth. And I am very fortunate to be asked this time around to be a part of the team. So Rick, can you give us a little background on kind of maybe why you decided to take people from outside your own spectrum in to create these programs?
I think it evolved out of, I have a specialization, and what I kind of focus in on is injuries and pain, especially when it relates to exercise. So how exercise can be used to overcome injury and pain. And one of the things that I focus in on when it comes to injuries is muscle imbalances.
Sure.
So my angle and focus ends to be kind of the rehab, post-rehab side of things. And now I only have one perspective. So what I did is, I connected with other, fitness professionals, health and fitness professionals, around the world, and asked them to contribute, the Muscle Imbalances Revealed series with their expertise. So I've had contributors like Mike Robertson, who's a strength coach, Bill Hartman, who's a physical therapist in the U.S., Dean Somerset, who is a strength coach and post-rehab specialist. So all of them kind of bring in their own perspective and specialization when it comes to their discipline, but then they also kind of bring in their unique, their tricks, tips and tricks that they do when it comes to addressing muscle imbalances.
It's kind of crazy because it seems like a lot of the higher level trainers, everyone comes to the conclusion that we're all twisted and imbalanced, right? And no degree of like bodybuilding training or even, quote unquote functional training is ever really going to get us untwisted. And, so why do you think that is, that we all come to the same conclusion that we have to kind of straighten out the body, work on the posture, rebalance the muscles, so on and so forth?
We have to, a lot of times it's what we end up doing during the day and for fun that ends up messing us up. So a lot of us end up sitting lots or driving lots or being in that sitting position. And what we do outside of work is we're sitting down on the couch watching things. If we do work out, we might work out half an hour a day, maybe 2 hours a day. But then there's the other, 16 hours of the day. What are we doing? And usually those 16 hours are kind of moving us to being imbalanced. And a lot of times our training that we end up doing imbalances us. And examples would end up being, like if you look at an individual that does bodybuilding training, they have good definition, good muscle mass. But if you ask them to do something functional or involving a dynamic movement or explosive movement, they won't be very good. While another example would be like someone that's like a gymnast, they might have a lean look and have great strength through all kinds of range of motion and great flexibility. But then if you get them to try to lift as much weight as possible compared to like a power lift, can't compete at all.
Sure. Yeah. I totally agree. So how do you go about seeking out people?
A big part of it I'm active in the health and fitness community, so I end up knowing a lot of people.
Sure.
I end up attending conferences and courses, so I see other people presenting. I read other people. I buy other people's products and kind of see, if their philosophies end up kind of matching mine, because I'm kind of non-confrontational. I think we all end up having specializations and knowledge, and everything we do can be beneficial to everyone, especially in a certain niche or group that we focus in on. Nothing's horrible, nothing's garbage. It's just how everything is applied, because like with my stuff, when it comes to injury stuff, you can mess up people very easily and make them very messed up. But I mean, if you approach things strategically and cautiously and with purpose, it's completely safe to do it. So those ends up being my steps, and I try to every year try to have some sort of theme. So I've had the theme of, lower body muscle imbalances, upper body muscle imbalances, assessment and exercise, and then this year it's ending up being unconventional tools ends up being the focus.
Well, that's fantastic. So I want to kind of lead in now that you've mentioned unconventional tools. Why don't you give us kind of a good idea of what these unconventional tools are and what we're able to learn? So I created one of the presentations, but I haven't seen Travis's or Isaac's presentation, so I'd love to hear all about them and everything as well.
Yeah. I mean, I think how it evolves, I mean, I got into the gym in 94, and a lot of the rehab stuff evolved out of physical therapy and kind of a tweak on bodybuilding, or a regression down of bodybuilding. So we ended up using, the regular tools that you find in a gym. It tends to be like dumbbells. You do some barbell stuff. It would end up being body weight, mat work, stability ball work, machines. Those ended up being the traditional tools of the trade. And I've used that a lot, but I've seen with my training, and what's kind of become popular out there is more the unconventional training. So it's like utilizing stuff that you wouldn't commonly find in a gym. And these have been tools that have been used by like MMA, strength coaches, garage gyms, CrossFit boxes. And so the ones that interest me the most end up being sledgehammer training. So this is something that Travis ended up covering. And I mean, with the sledgehammer training, it is awesome when it comes to creating explosive core work. And a strong core, and a core when it comes to performance. And then any type of individual that has to do a lot of swinging work. So if you're like an occupational worker, like a firefighter, and you have an axe and you have to smash down a door or smash down a wall, if you do it incorrectly, you can completely mess up your back. Yeah. But if you do it correctly, I mean, it's easy for you to do, and it's a good workout to do. And then, I mean, with you, the ring training, which, evolves out of gymnastics, and the gymnasts have been doing it for like, I can't say hundreds of years, but at least 100. Like a long time. And you look at how fit gymnasts are, and how they have great strength throughout range of motion, balanced with flexibility. So I wanted to bring in the ring training because of that. And it's something easy to use, and someone that anyone can do if they just want to, strap it up in the backyard, or strap it up to a jungle gym. And same with the sledgehammer, because the sledgehammer works well with the tire. So Travis also covered tire flipping, and how the tire flipping is awesome for explosive lower body power work. So if you combine the tire flipping with the sledgehammer training, you got awesome lower body explosive power that you can end up creating. If you end up doing it incorrectly, you can mess yourself up. I can think of 2 examples where bodybuilding guys have blown up their biceps because they've done it incorrectly. They're strong, but you kind of move them into that dynamic movement, and they mess themselves up. And then fourthly, ends up being Isaac Ho. And Isaac, he's a boot camp that runs a very successful boot camp in Tacoma, Washington. And he's also training to become like a manual therapist and massage therapist. So he takes some of his techniques when it comes to the manual therapy and the massage therapy, and does a unique kind of reverse stretching. And he's gotten lots of help, or it's really helped out his boot camp instructors. So I wanted to kind of bring that in, the recovery side of things. And there's still one more piece that I'm waiting to add in, and it's a sled training component, and that's going to be done by Rob King. We're just finalizing the last little details when it comes to the video side of things. But if anyone who has gotten Fixing Muscle Imbalances, the Unconventional Tools edition already, they'll end up getting that component. And I really like the sled training because it's awesome for rehab. It's excellent for rehab, but then it ends up being safe for people that end up having back injuries, just from how the sled ends up loading up the spine if you end up doing it correctly. It creates awesome stability in the knees and in the hips, and it's a great way of like bulletproofing your knees and hips. So that's what I wanted Rob to come in and do the sled training, and it's something that he's been using in Newfoundland to like revolutionize Newfoundland and make all of Newfoundland fitter
warriors.
with the sled training. So it's awesome. It's exciting. So it's not, you know, it's not for every fitness professional out there, but it's really a trend that I am seeing. And I think we're going to see people use more and more of the unconventional tools, the typical stuff when it comes to stability balls and barbells and dumbbells and tubing. It's going to have its role, but clients are going to want something different, are going to want something unique, are going to want something exciting. And I think the unconventional and safe and the unconventional tools are those.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree, Rick. I'm glad you brought that all up. Like, you know, one of the things I tell people about sledgehammer training is that it's, you know, you see the people on the ball with the cord and they're doing the crossbody chops and stuff, right? I'm like, well, sledgehammer training is like the fun version of crossbody chops. You know, when you're taught technique about each other, you know, and then sled dragging, you know, to me, when it's so hard to coach somebody's gait or their sprint because it's so fast, but sled dragging or pushing or anything like that, it's a great way to coach gait because you can teach people how to move properly while using a high intensity, which is so fantastic. So I think that's great. We're actually going to have Isaac Ho on the line coming up next. So I'm super excited to talk to him because I know he's a super sharp guy. And then we'll have Travis on last to talk about sledgehammers and tires and how you guys can apply that in your training. So Rick, Kaselj, thank you so much for putting this all together, my man. I really appreciate it. And thanks for getting on the line with us for 10 minutes.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Tyler.